Every indie boy soon discovers that Tame Impala is not the name of a source, but the name of an indie boy just like themselves, with a heart for old psychedelic rock and bringing it into the new age. Tame Impala, a name you can give in the Jeopardy category of bands that made every upcoming musician want to fuck the reverb button, or bands that a first date will play for you in the car as a sample of their weird music taste. It is a bit easy to resent Tame Impala, not necessarily for their music, but for the wild appraisal of their style, in contrast to how second-hand it actually is. But to me, at least their songs are actually pretty catchy and good, so it is positive thinking to swallow your pride and admit at the end of the day that Kevin Parker isn't just picking up a 13th floor elevators vinyl and tracing over it with a Sharpie. He's sculpting his own loving creations, and I must respect that. So I can still feel my heart flutter when I hear either Feels Like We Only Go Backwards or Cause I'm a Man, or the instrumental of A$AP Rocky's Sundress, but the slow rush might be where I steal that Sharpie and draw the line, because while it isn't a hollow album, it does sound hollower. The flame that made Current so unmistakable just isn't here, because the lighter that sparked it is out of juice and Kevin Parker's still flicking it for some reason. I can remember a few grooves and keyboard melodies, but that's a bit of a bleak takeaway. It's not like this was effortless, but it's a bit too comfy being the same thing that we've been stuck with hearing on Orcs playlists for the last 5 years, so of course I'm less likely to remember this iteration of it. I was waiting on any sort of magic moment, but just like my 1k subscriber Q&A special, it just never showed up. It couldn't have been any less expected that Grimes would become a name splooged in the tabloids, thanks to her rather surprisingly close association to Lego-faced tech daddy Elongated Musketeer, but it also couldn't have been any more expected that I'd bring those tabloid antics up when having to talk about her music. It's a nasty expectation that lingers in the air like a ballsack mistletoe. Miss Anthro is an album that sounds as bafflingly conceived as her child's name, but the annoying part is that the music actually sounds really, really good to my ears, swabbing the back streets of Massive Attack, Pendulum, T-Swift, Inya. Not a bad lineup of influences if you ask me, even if your intention seems to be to tech baby it up with microchips and software upgrades and flamethrowing chainsaws for arms. That's as well as I can describe this album, your favourite styles but in cyberspace tech suits. Very, very Tesla. The way the songs are pieced together can be a bit rough, falling apart at a few of the edges. Even one of my favourite songs here has sounds that play at different audio qualities. It's like the mechanic wasn't paid. I'm a little tentative about giving my fullest praise for this one, but if the songs at least sound good, then I'm not going to pretend to snootily wave my nose in the direction of one of Elon's satellites.
Trying to get lucky. I wish little were small, made me feel so yucky.
I didn't mind Man Alive! In fact, I think it's fucking brilliant. I think it's my favourite thing the Crockbox has done. I think it sounds great, it gets to the point quicker than the Ooze, and demonstrates a despondent atmosphere similar to the Ooze, akin to a run-down apartment. Because it's a lot more concise, the bursts of aggression, like when Archie becomes Archie on Stoned Alive, hit with perfect timing instead of hitting as, oh, finally, a good bit. But these moments still take their time getting there, making those slow burns feel less slow and like a burn. Propulsive motoric beats drive it forward like a pissed off station wagon, or trip hop beats creep up on you like a ghost searching for the peace of having a body again. I caught the general idea of the Ooze, but I never felt it enough to fully understand what it was going for. The youthful ennui on Man Alive is so grounded, on the other hand, and the feelings are so much more tangible. I could almost reach out and grab it if I wanted to, like a mango. There's a beautiful, clarifying, but very poignant sensation in the way that Archie sings Such a Funny Life again and again towards the end of the album, occupying this weird limbo space between being sincere and sarcastic. Am I head over heels for Punisher? No. Am I even bum over Tom for Punisher? No. Does it have one of the best closing tracks of the year? Yeah. I know the end is an avalanche, but it hits like a plot twist, the idea that this whole time we've really just quietly been reaching the apocalypse via a web of insidious omens like an America First rap country song and a picket fence, all linking together like the corners of a pentagram. It feels like the worst kind of ritual, the one that signals that it's too late to go back. Bridges sings that the billboard said the end is near. She turns around to find that there's nothing there before nonchalantly confirming, yeah, I guess the end is near. It's one of the most terrifying lyrics I've ever heard, but it hits with a climax that reminds me of the real joys of hearing music that pricks your emotions the way that this does.
Shit it in your locker and let them know with a winky face meet us at 3 o'clock if you wanna do something tragic.
It's not that I think we didn't need Run the Jewels 4, I'm just not at the point where I really care about them anymore. And don't get me wrong, I do miss that time in my life. It reminds me of high school. Ultimately, RTJ4 is a very well-made album with plenty of crunchy, sexy beats, a cheek sense of humor, and a Pharrell feature that is good, actually. But that's about all I can take from something like this now. I don't find myself as enticed by the political statements on RTJ4, simply because I'm no longer at the point where I find their kind of insight particularly stirring or fresh, and that's fine. That's not really their fault, exception being the last track, which is a try-hard effort at replicating the activist urgency of 2100, but a little bit It's a bit sad to me that the joy from hearing this would consist no more of hee, that's a funny joke. I'm not as caught up in the warmth of this bromance any longer. All the tricks have been used up, with Killer Mike saying, kill your masters, but no, don't worry, don't actually kill them. And LP is still finding 100 synonyms for the phrase suck my dick.